The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a contrite heart, and he will save the humble of spirit. Hello, my friends, and welcome to True Heroes. Today we are going to look at the lives of Saints Marcellinus, Peter, and Erasmus, who were clergy and martyrs of the 4th century, sacrificing their lives for the spread of the Catholic faith. There is very little on Saint Erasmus, so we will be focusing primarily on the other two. Let us begin their story. Marcellinus was a priest, and Peter was an exorcist. An exorcist is one who has been given special powers by the church to cast out the devil. Both were of the clergy of Rome and eminent for their zeal and piety. In the persecution of Diocletian about the year 304, they were condemned to die for their faith, and by a secret order of the judge, the executioner led them into a forest, that the holy men being executed privately, no Christians might be acquainted with the place of their burial, of their execution. According to a legendary account of their martyrdom, the two Romans saw their imprisonment as just one more opportunity to evangelize, and managed to convert their jailer and his family. When the executioner had brought them into a thicket overgrown with thorns and briars 3 miles from Rome, he declared to them his bloody commission, what his mission was going to be. The saints cheerfully fell to work themselves, grabbed up the brambles, and cleared a spot fit for their sepulchre. After they were beheaded, their bodies were buried in the same place. Some time later, Lucilla, a pious lady, being informed by revelation and assisted by another devout lady named Firmina, took up their bodies and honorably interred them near that of St. Tiburtius on the Lavican road in the catacombs. Pope St. Damasus says that he heard the story of these two martyrs from their executioner, who became a Christian after their deaths, and he inserted the story in a Latin epitaph with which he adorned their tomb. Anastasius the librarian testifies from ancient registers that Constantine the Great built here a church in honor of these martyrs, in which he caused his mother, St. Helena, to be buried under a tomb on the Lavican road 3 miles from Rome, and that he gave to this church a paten weighing 35 pounds of pure gold with many other rich presents. Though we know very little about these two martyrs under Diocletian, there is no question that the early church venerated them. Evidence of the respect in which they were held are, in fact, the basilica that Constantine built over their tombs. On to Saint Erasmus. He suffered torments and a cruel death, also in the persecution of Diocletian at Formiae in the year 303. Erasmus was the bishop of Formiae, Campania, Italy, and suffered martyrdom during Diocletian's persecution of the Christians, around a year before Saints Marcellinus and St. Peter. He once fled to Mount Lebanon during the persecution and lived a life of solitude there for some time, being fed by a raven. After the emperor discovered his whereabouts, he was tortured and thrown in prison. Legend claims that an angel released him, and he departed for Illyricum, eventually suffered a martyr's death. Legend records that when a blue light appears at mastheads before and after a storm, the seamen took it as a sign of Erasmus's protection. This was known as St. Erasmus's fire. The blue electrical discharges under certain atmospheric conditions have also been seen on the masts or riggings of ships. It's not quite sure why seamen invoked him so much, or why he was attributed so much to the sea. There's nothing in his life that seems to indicate this at all, but he was very much considered the protector of seamen, and precisely because of at least some of these miracles. Erasmus is also invoked against stomach cramps. This came about because at one time he had hot iron hooks stuck into his intestines by persecutors under Emperor Diocletian, but these wounds he miraculously endured. From the lives of these martyrs, let us learn to be willing to give up all to follow Christ. We have the example of the apostles who gave up everything as soon as Christ called them. Matthew was at a counting table and left everything there when Christ came and said, "Follow me." A bunch of the apostles who were fishermen, including St. Peter and St. Andrew, left their fishing vessels immediately and followed Christ when he said, "Follow me." We need to be willing to do the same. We probably won't be asked to leave everything behind, but we have to be ready and willing to do so. Tomorrow is a feria, so we will continue with our relics of Christendom. Until then, God bless you all, my friends. Saint Marcellinus, Peter, and Erasmus, pray for us.